My friends, it's Soul Tribe reading time. I've missed you guys. I know I did a Soul Tribe reading on Thursday, but that was like 3 whole days ago. I was missing you guys. I went away for the weekend with a friend of mine who's not, like, she's not spiritually awakened or anything, so we're quite different now. I used to be on the same like vibration and wavelength as her. So my weekend away was good. Like, it was good to get away and get some peace and quiet. But I also, I missed you guys. I missed my community. I tried to still interact with my comment section. But I wanted to come on today and do a Soul Tribe reading. I spent most of my day doing readings because I felt really called to after not doing any for 2 days. And for today, I did pick the Elemental Empath. I don't know if I got this. I feel like I got this deck right around the time I fell off the face of the earth doing Soul Tribe readings. And I did a few empath readings with it, but I wanted to use it for a Soul Tribe reading, and that's what I was thinking. This is the deck I tell you every day I'm going to do a Soul Tribe reading. I kind of have a vision of a deck in my mind's eye, and today it was this one. So I grabbed it and I set it aside for this reading. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I had to charge my phone right before I did this, so hopefully I can be a little impatient, so I just let it charge to what I think is enough to do this reading. Hopefully it is enough. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I know that I told you guys about like my mentor finding me. Again, I know it was silly, but I was worried for a long time. Like, I never told her that I had started my own channel. And I was worried, and I know this is so silly, but I was worried that I just love her so much, and I thought that I wouldn't like live up to her expectation. And when I was away, I had stuck on a reading of hers because I listened to all of her readings, Naked by Moon on YouTube. I listened to all of her readings, and I was just kind of doing something else, and I had it on. I just spit all over you. I'm so sorry. I had it on and I was doing something else while I was away. And I wasn't really paying attention. And then all of a sudden I heard her talking about me in one of her readings, which she never talks about other readers. And just the things she said to me were so beautiful. And I messaged my spiritual friend and I'm like, am I dreaming right now? Like, am I dreaming that my mentor is talking about me? Like, what is happening? It was such like a full circle moment for me. It was just it felt surreal to me to be hearing my mentor talk about me. It was crazy pants. Like, it was just, I can't tell you. Anyway, so that really uplifted me over the weekend as well. Like, I went to bed that night and I'm like, am I dreaming? But yeah, I wanted to come on and do a Soul Tribe reading. So let's get to it. Let's shuffle the deck, and you know the drill. Oh, look at that balance, yin and yang, beautiful. Oh, I really like that. So let's see what you need to hear, my Soul Tribe. If you're connected to me and you feel connected to this Soul Tribe energy, you're probably an empath, if I'm going to be honest. So I thought the empath deck was a perfect way to spend some time with you today. And we're going to read the beginning of that chapter. I don't know how far we'll get. Let me look at it. I love that this is the bookmark. Surrender to receive the little otter. So cute. So part 2, liberation from the mind. Meet your mind, chapter 4. So let me just see how long this is. I think we could read that whole thing. Let me see how I'm feeling. I think we could read that whole thing in one go. So we'll see if we read the whole thing or not. We have unapologetic. Be unapologetically yourself. Especially if you want to attract your soul people. You can only do that by being unapologetically yourself. Before I started doing this, I had a TikTok channel about being autistic. And after a year, I renamed myself unapologetically autistic because I was I was no longer sorry about it. I was unapologetic for being my authentic self. Be yourself, release societal expectations, be a mess. Yes, yes. And we have sunshine, light, passion, illumination, motivation. Don't dim your light. Don't dim that light. All right, so let's see what my soul tribe needs to hear. We have Creatrix, express emotions, birth your creation, womb energy. And I can't, unfortunately, because YouTube is, I can't show you this image because they can show many things on YouTube, like half-naked ladies, but a naked person nursing a baby, oh no, that's offensive. Sorry, YouTube. I love you, YouTube. I'm sorry. But, you know, I don't know if you can see that because my finger's blocking it, but that's a woman breastfeeding. So, or she's not, you know what I mean. The baby is nursing. So let's read that card. I'll see if I can hold it up without being offensive to YouTube, but I never know what's going to offend the YouTube gods. I've had readings that have been like taken down because I said like a couple swear words. So this is number 10. I just have to find it. There we go. You are a creator. You are a creatrix. And I just heard who sees through the matrix. So maybe you see through the matrix. So I'll show you this, but that's all I can show you. As a human being, you are a creator, even if you don't identify as a creative person. As a woman, and I'm not saying that all of you are women, I don't like to gender my readings, but this says woman. As a woman, your womb or energetic womb, if you don't have a physical one, there you go, is a magical portal of creation that can channel life. Whether physical or energetic, that space within you is made for creation. This card is your call to channel that creative force in whatever form that takes for you. It is time to birth creation into this reality. This could be through art, music, writing, dancing, crafts, building, etc. Anything that gets the creative juices flowing. Allow your nature to be expressed through creation. Create to connect. Creativity is a powerful way to tap into your true self as a way to release energy and emotions. Let yourself play and enjoy the process without getting lost in perfectionism. So true. Use creativity to channel your emotions and express your sensitivity. Potential blocks. Blocking this whole card. Are you blocked from your creativity? Is it within you? It is within you, just waiting to be tapped into. Try out some creative endeavors and go in with the intention to be messy and imperfect. Do what you need to do to unblock yourself. Secondly, this card is about birthing new creations into this world, so you may be stuck in the labor process. Giving birth to new life or a project or creation involves persevering through the pain and the blocks and connecting to your willpower. You are stronger than you think. Keep going and allow your creation to come into the world. Exercise. Meditate and connect with your womb space. Ask her what she would like to create and see what comes through. You can also take some colored pencils and just let yourself start scribbling. Creation isn't about perfection, it's about expression. All right, so let's see what else you need to hear. My soul tribe, what do you need to hear from this empathy deck? What do you need to hear? Or empath deck, I should say. All right, so we have 3 cards. True self, and I'll probably read the one on the bottom. We have abundance, raise your vibration, and divine timing. So let's start with divine timing, which is a spiritual card. Cosmos, spirit and energy. Divine timing, number 11. The other card we read was a 10. Oh, you've got two cards that are meant to be together in the deck. That's beautiful. I love when that happens. I can show you this one. Maybe. Timing. In today's fast food, high-speed internet world, we've gotten used to getting things right away. Though we may wish to rush things, it's important to remember that there is a divine timing to everything. We have such a limited view of the universe and all of the synchronistic magic happening. It's easy to want things right away or to wish certain things didn't happen at all. Intention and letting go. The balance we need to find is putting the energy of what we want out into the world, while also waiting and trusting that the universe has our back and letting go of the outcome. Trusting that what happens will be for our highest good. You never know what your current life circumstance could lead to. So remember that there is a flow to everything, even if you can't always feel it. For example, a traumatic experience could lead you to supporting others with similar experiences, yes, and finding deeper healing within yourself. Having perfect trust is nearly impossible, so be sure not to gaslight yourself if you feel frustrated with how things are in your life. Let yourself process any emotions that arise. The ebb and flow. This is the dance of life. Everything ebbs and flows in the divine flow of timing. However, this doesn't mean you sit around waiting for the right things to happen. Live your life, listen to your intuition. Play, work, connect, live. And as you do, watch for the subtle and not so subtle signs the universe puts on your path. Pay attention. Don't get too hung up on whether you are doing or not doing the right thing. Remember, the universe has your back. Lastly, look at any patterns or blocks in your life that may be holding you back. Are you subconsciously sabotaging or limiting yourself? Is there something within you that you can work on in order to help things flow? Potential blocks. Blocks for this card comes in two forms. The first is overly worrying about timing and signs from the universe. Everything will work out as it should, so allow yourself to let go and live your life. See what happens. That's not an affirmation, that's just some show notification from Netflix. If this is a big block for you, see the air, pause, water, cleanse and release, feel emotion cards. The second block could be that you are trying too hard to force things. It might be time to take a step back and wait. Trust the process. Pushing for what you want or desperately avoiding what you don't want when it keeps coming to you could be a sign to let go. Tap into your intuition and ask yourself if the timing is really right. Remember, there's something you want to do, but you just can't seem to do it. You might need more time for the blocks to release or the timing to be right. Trust, trust, trust. The last block could be that you struggle to trust the universe in your life. If this is you, you are not alone. Allow yourself to grieve for the experiences in your past so that you can learn to trust again when the time is right. Meditation exercise. Meditate for 5 minutes every day, imagining what you want coming closer and closer and closer to you. I love that. And then we have Raise Your Vibration, which is the card right before this one. Defining raising your vibration. I'll show it to you. This is a concept that is often misunderstood. Raising your vibration refers to raising your vibrational frequency from a low vibration, where emotions like fear and shame sit, up to a high vibration where you can feel peace, gratitude, and joy. However, this is not to say that you should repress the more low vibe or negative emotions. Rather, use a higher vibrational state to process and hold these uncomfortable emotions instead of stewing in them. A higher vibration is not about the bypassing of emotions and experiences, but rather the ability to hold them in a safe space without you getting swept away by them. This is the power of raising your vibration. Because you've safely held space for the difficult emotions, you will then have a clearer perspective when blocks come up, instead of getting lost in the thick of them. How to raise your vibration. There are many ways to raise your vibration, including increasing the amount of organic fruits and vegetables you consume, finding more gratitude in your life, finding compassion for yourself and others, And perhaps the most important, accepting yourself where you are and working from there, instead of pushing yourself to be in a different state. One of the most powerful things you can do is hold space for yourself as you are and invite in compassion and the ability to change instead of bullying yourself to be different. Remember that holding space for your emotions is also a way of raising your vibration. Potential blocks. This card cautions you against toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. When we are feeling good and have a high vibe, it can be easy to not want to get stuck in the downer emotions of ourselves or others. But this is where the key is. Those negative emotions are actually the key to unlocking a higher state of healing and vibration. They are parts of ourselves that are asking for love, attention, and understanding in order to be safely processed and released. When friends need help, first ask yourself if you want to hold space or even have the capacity. If you feel that you do, it is important to have the ability to hold space without bypassing or pushing advice. Try asking permission to give advice or wait until it is asked for. Listen compassionately. When they feel seen and heard, they'll be better able to see and hold space for themselves. Yes, there are people who will try and take advantage or who are determined to stay in a victim mindset and spiral in self-pity. This is where boundaries come in. If you are in a higher vibration, you can help raise others up. Have compassion. That's not an affirmation. Have compassion rather than shaming them for not being in a high enough vibration. And then we have abundance, which is, I believe that's earth energy. Abundance. Let me just check. Is this earth energy? Probably. All the way back to the beginning of the earth, body and reality. So abundance. Your true nature, gratitude, commitment to goals. Your true nature is abundant. Abundance is not only about money, it is about knowing that we are powerful beings no matter what we have been through, knowing that we are lovable, divine souls experiencing a human life. We have many experiences in life that teach us otherwise, but deep within us is a light of abundance that is an integral part of our soul. Due to the nature of this life, some are born with the privilege to embody this abundance from a young age, but many are not. This is a simple invitation to connect with your abundance, both inwardly and outwardly. Connect with the deeper part of your soul, where there is peace, where there is still, and there is a knowing that there is a flow to this life. Start to notice which outward parts of your life, however small, bring you joy, the parts that you are grateful for. Life is not always fair, but that is part of our strength to persevere in the face of that unfairness. The print is so small in this book. Maybe I should just put my glasses on. There will be times when you feel down, and that is okay. Allow for that and hold yourself space in those moments. But always return to this deep sense of knowing your value. Commitment to goals. This card is also about your commitment to your goals. What are you working towards and what do you want? Is it the right path for you? If not, it's time to reassess. If so, it's time to commit and continue forward with perseverance. Tap into your ambition and get to work. Recognize that the nature of this world is not one of work equals reward, but rather it's a dance of finding the right path for your soul amidst the chaos of inequality, opportunity, and advantages, and divine guidance. What are you uniquely suited for? Potential blocks. You might be stuck in a mindset of lack. It can be hard to embody abundance when your outward world doesn't reflect it. It's easy to feel down and hopeless. This is your reminder that you have a bright light within you that is innate. Allow yourself to process any stress you might be feeling, but also invite the energy of abundance into your life. Ask for guidance and help from the universe. I'm just going to repeat that. Ask for guidance and help from the universe to embody abundance within yourself. Exercise. Meditate and connect with your inner light. That is the part of you that is always there, even if you can't always feel it. The part of you that is abundant and can help you along your path. You may also want to write down 5 things you want and 5 things you are grateful for every night. Reset your mind for abundance. You know what? I'm just going to get a few more. I'm going to take that one because I saw it and I said I was going to read it. I won't take the next bottom of the deck one unless it's screaming at me. Let's just get 2 more. There we go. Those are the 2. It didn't scream at me. We have intimacy, connect, discover, and voice needs, explore, and heal. That is the one we had on the bottom, true self. And then we have expression, find your voice, bottled up emotions, communicate. And she's naked, so I'll have to cover her. All right, so let's start with true self. Another 10. Another 10, and that's fire energy. So 10. 10. Feel your energy. It's time to clean your energy and tap into your soul connection, the pure you. Everyone has a unique energetic signature, a feeling that is theirs alone. Most of the time we aren't aware of it, but we unconsciously know how different people feel to us, especially if they're a close friend or relative. As a highly sensitive person or an empath, it's easy to get lost in the energy of others and forget ourselves. We often don't realize that the emotions we have aren't even ours to begin with. And that goes, like, even if you're not around this person, like you could be hundreds of miles away from someone and you can still pick up on their energy. It's time to reclaim your energy. Remember what it feels like to be purely you as an individual. Tapping into your own energy is a great way to tap into your power and stop absorbing other people's emotions. It allows you to shed all that is not yours. It's also an amazing way to connect with your true self and discover what you want, what needs attention, and how you actually feel about situations. So ask yourself, what does it feel like to be me? Can you feel you? Tapping into things you love can help you do this. What ignites your soul? What brings you peace? Feeling into the true you also involves living a life that is true to you. This isn't always possible right away, but there are things you can do to move towards the life you want. Create a safe space. This card also prompts you to tap into a safe container. It's easy to get lost in the energy of the world and other people, or even our own thoughts and triggers. Start creating a safe space within yourself where only the pure energy of you is allowed. A place where you can invite the hurt parts of yourself to come for safety and love. A place where you can sit firmly when you are around others so you don't get blown away. You are your safe space. This card also reminds you to be your own hero. Receiving support is a good thing, but just remember that ultimately you must be the one to pull yourself out, make the changes, and save yourself. Lastly, remember that when you are connected to your true self, the wise self, the stronger your energy field becomes and the less you take on the energy of and opinions of others. The traumatized self, in all of her pain, might attempt to people please, self-destruct, or mislead you. When you are tapped into the wise self, you can hear the deep yes or no when you are presented with a choice or being asked to do something. You will be more clearly guided through life and better able to set healthy boundaries and practice self-care. Potential blocks. You might be lost in other people's energy and not know how it feels to be you. Being a chameleon may have helped you survive up until now, but it's time to stand in the true you. Or maybe you've created so many walls that other people can't get in. Protection can be good, even necessary, but too many walls prevent anyone from ever getting close. Meditate the exercise. Meditate and calm your senses, then tap into your senses. Go through all 5 and slowly immerse in each one, experiencing them. Then transition into feeling all 5 at once, feeling your whole body. Sink deeper into the sensations and imagine a glow coming from deep within you, radiating from your center, gently rising up out of your skin. In this sensation, see if you can sense how it feels to be you. This glow is you. If you can't feel it, don't worry. It takes time to It takes time to tap into the true you after years of being disconnected. Give it the time of regular practice. Do something you love and immerse in how it feels. That feeling is a connection to you. Also notice what isn't yours. You might start to notice sensations, emotions, or visuals in your system that are from other people. Continue to focus your energy and give the other energies permission to go. If you find yourself taking on a lot of other people's energies, imagine a bubble of your energy where only you are allowed in. If you need, imagine a wider bubble of energy as a second layer that can be your safety bubble where other people are allowed in, but not into the inner layer. Lastly, to help you connect more deeply with your energy, calm your mind and repeat your own first name, or whatever name you choose to go by, as your mantra. Slowly repeat it for 5 to 10 minutes, feeling it resonate within you. It may take some time to get comfortable with this, so be patient with yourself. Eventually, you will be able to associate your name with the light and resonance of you. And this card talked about being a chameleon, and that's how I lived my entire life, was being a chameleon. I would just kind of take on whoever my friend was. I would take on, or like even dating, I would take on all of their likes and dislikes, and I would adopt them all as my own because I had no idea who the heck I was. And I'm thankful for the lessons. I don't regret anything, but that also stops you from finding your true people if you're pretending to be somebody else. How can your people find you if you're pretending to be with this other group of people? Does that make sense? Maybe some of you resonate with that. I used to be that chameleon, and that people-pleasing thing, definitely. We have expression, which is also fire. I opened right up to it. Let it out. I have to cover her because she's letting it all hang out, and they don't allow that around here. We are taught to bottle it all up. Don't let that emotion show. Don't be dramatic. And I'm hearing that song from Frozen. Conceal it. Don't feel it. Don't let it show. That's how I grew up, to bottle everything up. Anyway. This is your permission to let it out and have some catharsis. Your emotions are completely valid, and so is your expression. Whether the emotion is yours or someone around you that you've absorbed, it is repressed and bottled up. It needs a way out. Otherwise, it will leak out in unhealthy ways when you aren't expecting it. This is so true. Think about a bottle, and I think I've explained this before, like, by pushing those emotions deep down inside, it's like you have a bottle of pop and you're just shaking it to make the emotions go away. And then you shake it some more, and then you shake it some more, and then you shake it some more. And then you're walking through your house, and my favorite one is your sweater gets hooked on a doorknob, and all of a sudden you have all this rage and you explode because you've been bottling up all this other stuff. Anyway. There are many ways to express how we feel. Screaming into a pillow is always a good standby. I love that. You can let the feelings flow by writing, dancing, yelling, or punching pillows. You can also sit quietly with it and breathe through the layers, holding each emotion as it rises. What feels right for you? I'm a fan of crying into my towel on my bathroom floor. I'm also a fan of dancing in my bathroom with clothes on. This card also asks how comfortable you are holding your anger. As women, or just people, especially our anger, have been suppressed for thousands of years. It can be daunting to finally allow it to have space. Remember that you are allowed to feel anger. It is a sacred purging that runs through your system, enabling you to access many other emotions that sit beneath it. Embodying anger can inspire you to act, to create change in the world, and tap into your true feelings about a situation without gaslighting yourself. You don't need to explode at others. You can let your anger out in healthy ways. and allow it to process. Grounded anger, I'm drooling a little. Grounded anger is a powerful tool when we let it be. It is calm, controlled, and sure of itself without losing control. Now I'm hearing a song. What song is that? Music makes me lose control. Music makes me lose control. Is that Missy Elliott that I'm hearing? I don't even know. This may be a time to burn away what is no longer serving you. Ask yourself, what is ready to go? Don't force what isn't ready. Instead, embody it and let it out. Let the waves of emotion flow. Get angry, get happy, sad, afraid, whatever needs to arise. Communicate. This card also may indicate that you need to communicate with someone to resolve things. Often we need to vocalize our feelings in order to find closure. Or maybe there are some boundaries that need to be put in place. Misunderstanding builds in silence, so now might be a good time to reach out to someone to get their side of events and also communicate yours. When we don't communicate, it's so easy for misunderstandings to spiral and for hurt to grow. There are always at least two sides to a story, so don't get stuck in yours. You might not have the full story. When you communicate, try not to assign blame. Express your side by explaining how you feel and how you perceived the event instead of telling the person what they did wrong. If possible, give them a chance to explain as well and see if you can find a middle ground to work things out. Communication can bring things into focus. Some people will be willing to talk, some won't. Know your audience. Do your best to communicate well, and if they aren't willing to listen or compromise, you know you have done your part, and the rest is on them. Accept any blame that you might be responsible for and forget the rest. Have clear boundaries and stay in your power. So for me, like I know, for example, my dad, I am not safe to express around that. So I did a release where I wrote about the things that were bothering me and I wrote my side of the story. And then on a full moon, I burned it and I released it. That can be another way, like if you can't talk to this person, for example, or, sometimes people have unresolved anger towards people who have passed away and they can't talk to them. So it's okay to write that out or journal about it and then burn it. Full moon. It's good to do it on a full moon. Vulnerability. Also remember that vulnerability can be a powerful connector to a way to break down walls. We connect best with people who feel real. If the person is a safe space, consider telling the vulnerable truth of how you feel and what your experience is. Don't use it to guilt, manipulate, or shame them. Just share authentically from the heart. Sharing authentically. I'm making up words again. If you feel this is a right move for you, find a way to communicate. If not, try writing them a letter that you don't send. I just said that. And then burn it. Burn. Potential blocks. Beware of getting lost in the explosive cycle. Not all emotions need to be released explosively. Doing so is actually bad for the nervous system and can create an unhealthy cycle where our systems try to explosively release all the time without actually processing the core emotion. Practice leaning into the emotions to see how they need to come out instead of getting worked up into a frenzy every time a wave of emotion hits. Practice emotional awareness. Don't just explode at everyone or everything in your life. Another block could be that old emotions that you thought you cleared up are coming up again. It's hard to continually work through the same emotions again and again. If the same thing keeps coming up, ask yourself, is this just a shadow of something old trying to distract me? Or is there a deeper a deeper layer to something I've been working through that needs to be held and addressed? Either way, allow yourself to feel any frustration that comes up. All emotions are valid and deserving of expression. Exercise. When the emotion arises, pause and ask yourself, how does this emotion want to be expressed? Instead of spiraling in it, try holding it and letting it run its course. Is there a way to make that happen? You can dance, write, draw, yell, or do anything that helps you express yourself. So we have one more card here, and it's Intimacy, number 2. And it's water. So water is back this way. Water. Where are you, water? Water. Number 4. 2. Intimacy. And again, if you're a masculine or a man, you can still take this message. It's just this deck is it's written for women for some reason. Sexuality, especially for women, has been long shamed and identified as something dirty and forbidden. That narrative is starting to change, but so many women are still shamed for embodying their natural sexual desires. This card encourages you to explore this side of yourself. It is a journey to work through the layers of conditioning, shame, and fear, but it is worth it to discover the true you that lies underneath. Sexuality is also not the same for everyone. Your job is to discover what it means to you and how you want to express it. Maybe you love showing off your body. Maybe you prefer modesty. Sexual empowerment is personal. Don't let anyone tell you what it should or shouldn't be. Start to allow yourself to explore. Play on your own or with your partner or even multiple partners. What excites you? What desires have you secretly wanted to try? Can you start to give yourself permission to play? Take your time to learn and lean into what you love and enjoy the process instead of rushing to the end. Understand your triggers and boundaries. This card also invites you to look at sexual triggers you might have. Many women have been violated in one way or another, and there is so much pressure to repress it, get over it, and work through all of it at once. None of these approaches address the core of the wound, which is the need for love and acceptance of where you are now. You are allowed to feel how you feel. There is hope, and there is hope for feeling better. Don't push yourself. Do what you need to do, and when you feel ready, maybe start to invite some love into the wounded parts of yourself. You are doing better than you think. See a professional to receive support if possible. Find your voice. Finally, this card reminds you that you are allowed to voice what you want. Your needs are valid even if they feel fickle and keep changing. Find your voice and speak up. In relationships, both of you are allowed to exist equally, so notice if you start to think the other person is more worthy of getting what they want. Potential blocks. Embodying your sexual nature is a very personal journey that cannot be dictated by anyone else. The blockage here is that you might be trying to be something that you are not. Whether that is listening to society and deep conditioning about shaming your sexuality, or pushing yourself to be open and sexual when you aren't ready. Take time to listen to yourself and see what the deeper you wants and needs. Connect with your area and start listening to her. Remember, I can't say the words. Remember, not because of me, but because of YouTube. Remember, enjoy the journey of exploration instead of just rushing to the end. Exercise. It's time to connect with yourself and learn how to communicate with your sexual body. I can't even read this to you. It just talks about going slow and exploring your body. I can't read this to you because of YouTube. I can't read all that. I'm sorry. It's YouTube, not me. If you struggle with engaging sexually for any reason, listen to yourself and don't push it. If it feels right for you, nope, can't read that either. I can't read it. I'm sorry. It's not about me. It's about YouTube. And it talks about I can't, sorry, can't. Again, it's not that I don't want to share with you what that exercise is, but it's very descriptive. And I know that if I say those things, YouTube will take this video down. So unfortunately, I can't. But it is about, exploring yourself and what feels good for you. I'll leave it there. YouTube. There's a reason why some readers, when they do intimate tarot readings, they have to do it on another platform. They have to do an extended on a different platform because YouTube doesn't allow that. So anyway, as much as I would like to read that to you, can't. But anyway, we're going to read your book now. Our book. I just need to charge my phone just a tiny little bit. Hang on. I'm back with a little bit more battery. So chapter 4, Meet Your Mind. Don't believe everything you think. Alan Locos. Up until this point, you may have likely approached life believing that the mind's thoughts are yours and that everything you think is in fact you. A radical truth that we have not accepted as a species is we are not our thoughts. As long as you confuse thoughts as who you are, you can never actually be free, for you will remain controlled by them. If your thoughts tell you stories fueled with anger and competition, you may become angry and competitive. If they spin stories of fear and paranoia, you panic and have anxiety. If they grovel in shame and regret, you become depressed, and so on. Because we have never stopped to question our thoughts, we have in turn become obedient to them. So obedient that even we think we are the ones thinking them. We confuse thoughts as us. To question your thoughts would be to question our thoughts would be to question our sense of reality and our sense of identity, maybe even our sanity. But you must have the courage to keep exploring. This chapter may be uncomfortable for the mind. Remember last week that when I was reading, I just scratched myself, and that's the mark it leaves when I scratch myself. Remember last week, I could feel my ego squirming when we read that chapter about the ego. So this chapter may be uncomfortable for the mind because we are going to be exposing its tactics of defense. See the resistance clearly. There is so much more to you than what you think. This concept of watching your inner dialogue as an impersonal observer of it will reveal a theme of consciousness and cause an empowering shift within you. I'm ready for it. However, the ego mind will do everything it can to convince you to stay subservient to it. This is to be expected, of course, because you are challenging the mind's sense of control and igniting the awakening process. All heroes' journeys must go through a shattering of their old reality in order to step into their authentic one. Understanding that the resistance of the mind is not out of some maniacal, sadistic behavior, but purely out of ignorance and naivety. It is not an actual enemy, only an inheritance of being born human. Same as having a heart, lungs, arms, or legs. It just is what it is. I actually hate that expression. It is what it is. I've always hated that expression. It just is what it is. All references to the mind as an enemy throughout this book are simply to reveal that all perceptions of enemies are actually just the mind projected as that enemy. And so it may be useful in the initial stages of our awakening process to see the real enemy clearly, so as to stop playing into its games of projection and distraction. From a higher perspective of love, the mind is like an innocent child and simply doesn't know any better, and it is ultimately doing what it believes will help it survive. It genuinely thinks it is doing what is best for you, even if it seems atrocious or horrific. It may be helpful to view the mind as an innocent machine or hardware that is going along with whatever inherited programs and software were installed into it. It literally does not have the ability to tell if a program is good or bad for it, just like a computer accepting a programmed virus without question. Thus, something greater than the mind has to become aware of what is being programmed and accepted. Commit now to becoming the watcher of your thoughts and utilize your observations to grow and change through your newfound awareness of the mind's incessant commentary. By paying attention to the quality of your inner dialogue, you will reveal your current theme of consciousness and your mind's root program beliefs associated with that theme. Remember, you are unconditionally loved and whole, even in the mind's confusion and wandering. You are not the theme of consciousness your mind has attached itself to. By having compassion for yourself and surrendering to the notion that you are not your thoughts, you will be able to make it through this revealing process. All of us, inherited an ego mind, and we are all in this together. On the other side of the ego's discomfort is eternal peace and freedom. Have courage, rise to the occasion. This is your moment. For the one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for the one who has failed to do so, the mind will be its greatest enemy. The Bhagavad Gita. How did we get here? Without guidance and awareness, we become entranced by the mind's thinking early in life. We even have entire education systems that reinforce the notion that the mind is who we are, and it should therefore be praised and developed as a personal achievement and point of pride. Yet almost all of our thoughts are... Yet almost all of our thoughts are actually only reflections of past experiences and beliefs that have been modeled to us by those most impactful in our lives: parents, teachers, religions, friends, advertising, or society. In an effort to survive best, the mind seeks to quickly become in sync with the perspectives and themes of consciousness of the family and community. Thus, we take on similar beliefs, thoughts, emotional behavior, and brain neuron development as those closest to us. Our social nature is such that we tend to meet the expectations of our elders. Jean Lidloff. Through community and influential figures in our lives, the mind absorbs and creates a mental narrative and a biological neuron blueprint, which we have been referring to as the theme of consciousness. Emotional habits, perspectives, beliefs, thoughts, degrees of success, abusive tendencies, worldview, religious perspectives, self-sabotaging behavior, quality of relationships, avoidances, attachments, neediness, insecurity, judgments, you name it. They are all a reflection of the different themes of consciousness we are occupying. Listening to the quality of your thoughts and noticing patterns and commonalities will reveal a theme of consciousness. For example, are your thoughts consistently pessimistic and doubtful, and perhaps optimistic and bold? Through expectancy, we become entrained into certain themes of consciousness that then become our sense of reality, all without our conscious awareness. Even rebelling against our parents' or society's ways of thinking in order to prove our sovereignty is still yet another behavioral program inheritance. Without the original modeling, we would have nothing to rebel against in the first place. The question to be asking ourselves is, who would we be without any of these inheritances of programs? Who were you before you accumulated all of your thoughts, programs, opinions, judgments, validations, and attachments? Who were you before all of your fear and doubt and insecurity covered you? The true freedom and lasting happiness you are seeking can only be realized by breaking out of inherited programming and choosing to remember the truth for yourself. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung, however you say it. Ego accumulation, the master collector. Entrainment with different themes of consciousness is constantly happening to us with each new experience of life. The brain either strengthens or deconstructs neuron pathways with every repeated thought and emotion. The more a pathway is used, the stronger and more efficient it becomes. Just like a muscle growing, the more you work it. Shame, guilt, fear, anger, doubt, insecurity, impatience, judgment, all become strengthened and infused into our biological chemistry each time we choose to go there. The habit of indulging in any particular emotion or thought pattern leads to that theme of consciousness becoming our automatic and effortless response to life. Theme of consciousness are thus inherited, trained, conditioned, exercised, and reinforced until they gradually become subconscious and generate our sense of who we think we are. Things like skepticism, frustration, anxiety, or jealousy can become so hardwired into the brain that they become quite literally a neurological reflex. The brain can then become addicted to the chemicals released, called neurotransmitters. each time a neurological reflex is activated. The brain will even look for and find a reason or excuse to go there, so that it can receive a chemical hit of the thought or emotion. The brain will look for and find a reason or excuse to go there, so that it can receive a chemical hit of the thought or emotion that it is so addicted to. The good news is, with each moment spent in states of gratitude, love, ease, and trust, the neuron connections for them get stronger as well, and the old pathways begin weakening. Thus, through the same process of expectancy and conscious awareness of which thoughts and emotions we are allowing ourselves to indulge in, we can make happiness a natural, habitual response to life, our original pure state. I am a magnet to prosperity. That's your affirmation. This is perfectly demonstrated in an old Cherokee folktale. Once, a long time ago, an elder sat by the fire and taught his grandson about life. He said to the boy, "There's a fight going on inside all of us, a fight between two wolves. One is evil, angry, miserable, sad, resentful, prideful, full of shame, guilt, and self-pity. The other is good. He is peaceful, happy, graceful, kind, benevolent, generous, truthful, optimistic, trusting, and compassionate." The boy thought about life for a moment and asked, "Which one will win?" To which the elder replied, "The one you feed." The question to continually ask ourselves is, which wolf are we feeding? And I talk about the ego monster and about how when you feed the ego monster, and in this story, that would be the wolf, the hungry wolf, the evil wolf, the angry, miserable, blah, blah, all that. I talk about feeding the ego monster, and every time you give that ego monster a cookie, it gets hungrier for more and more and more cookies. I know that's a weird comparison, but anyway. After our mind has repeatedly been exposed to a specific way of thinking, it gets stuck in a self-perpetuating cycle. If the theme of consciousness is of a positive nature, this will be helpful, but the ones which bring suffering require uprooting. Inherited negative beliefs, perspectives, and thoughts that burrow into our subconscious continue to validate themselves through rationalizing, support, and resisting accountability and change. They keep us trapped in suffering through defending the very beliefs, thoughts, perspectives, and habits that make us feel powerless by placing blame outside of ourselves. Remember, none of this is your actual true self. It is an example of how your limited ego self maintains control. Behind these layers of limitation and skewed perception, you are still absolutely innocent and a marvelous creation of perfection. Avoiding discovery through blame. To avoid being discovered for what it is, the ego mind projects our problems as coming from outside of us in order to keep us distracted from the real root of our suffering, the ego's attachment to a wounded theme of consciousness. This is how it hides in plain sight. The greatest enemy will always hide in the last place you would ever look, Julius Caesar. By keeping us focused on the external issues of our life and blaming something outside of ourselves, we never think that something within us could be the possible source of all our problems. By believing that our anger, guilt, or sadness is created by other people or external situations, we help to strengthen that particular ego attachment and feed the neurochemical addiction. So you're feeding the evil wolf. The mind is always thinking something or someone else is at fault, thus protecting itself from ever being discovered. However, the downside of this displacement is that in the process of defending itself, the mind accidentally makes us the victim by giving our power away to the external person, place, or circumstance it is blaming. Through committing to your inner work, you are peeling back the veil and seeing this human plight clearly. Breaking the cycle. Traumatized people tend to traumatize others. Those who blame tend to feel like victims, which teaches others to be in blame with them. Those who are prideful tend to be hiding insecurity and try to make others feel insecure. Hurt people passing on hurt to others, thus teaching them to repeat the behavior. And the innocent cycle of ignorance Begetting ignorance goes on and on. The mind naively puts itself into a self-imposed prison of repeating cycles of suffering and confusion. Compassion for ourselves and others becomes natural when we see how all of this works. Releasing, cleansing, healing, froggy in my throat. While these cycles go on rippling throughout humanity, we don't even know there is a choice to be anything different than what we are until now. Luckily, the ego's past programs and self-sabotaging behaviors are just one perspective and view of life, and not the one and only. There are infinite other perspectives, responses, emotions, and thoughts to choose from, if we have the eyes to see them. It all starts with awareness. There is more to life than what we have previously thought, and we can radically change at any moment. There are entire worlds of possibility yet to be explored within us. Worlds of patience, satisfaction, fulfillment, peace, hope, love, stability, happiness, uninterrupted bliss, confidence, and faith regardless of what is going on in our lives. Have courage to look beyond your current perspectives and beliefs. Continue to question your mind and why you think the way you do. Inquire as to who you truly are, whatever the cost may be. Your curiosity as to why you suffer is the key to set yourself free. Know that the discomfort of the ego is to be expected and is actually a sign you are onto something true. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't threaten the ego. Our ego's discomfort is the doorway to our liberation. Be willing to step into it, lean into it even. The day you decide that you are more interested in being aware of your thoughts than you are the thoughts themselves, that is the day you will find your way out. Michael A. Singer. Waking up. By becoming aware of this constant mental commentary about our lives, we wake up from the matrix of our own thoughts. We unplug ourselves from the neuron pathways and patterns of suffering that are automatically reacting for us. The beautiful thing about our brain is that it can adapt and change over time as we exercise our spiritual will to override our current programming. I just wish I could read this to everybody who watches my love readings. Like, I'm going to be honest. This is some of the stuff I talk about in my love readings, about programming and how people learn these behaviors from their parents and that they act out subconsciously. I wish I could read that part to the people who watch my love readings. But anyway, it is moldable and has what scientists call plasticity. But in order to fully heal these neuron pathways of suffering, we have to understand them and accept them with compassion and humility. Only then can we move on. Self-analysis. Take a moment to reflect on some of your most common thought patterns, such as the most significant beliefs like your self-worth, spiritual view of self, or how you think life tends to go for you. Examples might be, no one loves me, everyone rejects me, I shouldn't be this way. God can't possibly love me. I should know better. I am wrong. I deserve to be punished. I'm incapable. I'm a burden. No one wants to help me. I always lose. People always abandon me. I lose everything I love. People are out to get me. They want me to fail. Fear keeps me one step ahead. I never seem to have enough. I deserve more. God is withholding from me. Everyone is in my way. I expect to get what I want. I hate setbacks and waiting. I am the best, smartest, and most attractive. I know what is best. I am superior and others are inferior. God favors the chosen ones. Or perhaps they are of a more positive nature. So, positive nature. I am committed and dedicated to goodness. I can handle the responsibilities of life with integrity. God is just. There is enough for everyone. There is no hurry. Arguing doesn't change anything. The world does just fine without my opinions. I don't need to get involved. I am talented. I am always doing my best. I enjoy being a great service to others. Life is filled with opportunity for me. Everything is always working out for my benefit. My life is a glorious gift. I forgive others and can appreciate everyone's uniqueness. Knowledge is power. It is wise to be a loving person. It is rational to seek the betterment of self and others. I am loved and love others easily. I am always supported and guided. I am completely I just got cut off. I was like reading my poor little heart out. And then I looked up and my phone was like, you're out of storage. And it completely deleted everything I just read. So I'm just going to go back to where I was. I was right at the end when I realized it cut me off. I was right at the end of the positive ones. I am loved and love others easily. I am always supported and guided. I am completely loved and sustained by faith. God loves me unconditionally. And then I had to go clear off my phone and delete a bunch of stuff. Like, anyway, here I am again. No more interruptions, please. Either version of the stories came from somewhere. Whether a positive nature or a negative nature, they were instilled into us through experience, modeling, trauma, or adopted out of defense or curiosity. I'm like a little paranoid. I have to make sure this is recording now. Take a moment and acknowledge that almost everything about your mind's perspectives, beliefs, judgments, values, and desires were inherited and modeled or developed as a coping mechanism. Some were beneficial and others were not, but nevertheless, you have to accept that you have to accept that had you been born into a different family, different time, different country, different religion, different gender, or just overall had different life experiences, your thoughts and beliefs would have been completely altered. So who are you without any of these inheritances? What innocent, pure soul is underneath and behind all of these messages? Whatever our inner narrative is, conscious of it or not, our mind will always find a way to rationalize why it is the right and the best way for us. This is how it maintains boundaries of control and is what society typically refers to as someone who is closed-minded. The mind can be incredibly tenacious and resilient. The untamed mind is obsessed with being right, making a point, or being justified, even if it brings suffering or death. As an extreme, Adolf Hitler, for example, believed he was completely justified and right in his thoughts and actions, even at the expense of millions of souls. The mind is innately limited, biased, and naive. We may think that just because we're adults, we all should know better, but that just isn't the case. The mind does not know better, or else it would do better. Compassion is therefore crucial. In fact, the greater the aggression, pride, or selfishness, the greater compassion needed for the torment going on within the mind exhibiting such behavior. Like can only come from like. Hate does not come from love, and love does not come from hate. Aggression and violence being expressed to others can only come from a mind that is aggressive and violent towards itself. That is like one of the saddest things I've ever heard right there. So just remember that. The next time someone is being aggressive and violent, it's coming from an aggressive and violent mind that's directed inward at them. True power, security, and love don't hurt others and have no enemies. Only ignorance and lack do. We are all projecting our current spectrum consciousness at any given moment. We're all trying our best with what we were given. Underneath it all, we were always innocent, no matter how grotesque and faulty the ego judges others or ourselves to be. Remember always that we are beyond this. We are beyond this human body and mind. Begin to not take it so personally, but instead seek to understand with humility and compassion for the human condition. The mind as a computer. We're totally going to do it. The mind is a computer. From a more non-attached perspective, we can view the mind as an amazing machine or tool rather than the actual identity. The suffering in our life has come from believing the mind's stories are what define us as me, when actually, just like the heart beating so that the body may continue on living, the mind only perceives, translates, and processes the external stimuli of life to help us best survive and make sense of our external world. The mind can't know anything in its own right, though. The mind can only attempt to know about things. It is only a processor of information, just like a computer. The mind's library is made up of a collection of descriptions, categories, and symbols. It can't possibly compute the infinite details within any given moment accurately, and he even has a hard time remembering where it put the car keys. It is completely incapable of grasping the grandness of its own existence, but yet still somehow tricks us into believing that it knows everything. Witness how it has an opinion on just about everything and everyone. Even on subjects it has never actually researched, it will still come up with something. It is all a grand vanity. It does it secretly, and at its core, believes itself to be God after all. On top of that, it is only capable of seeing things a way, not always, and therefore lacks humility and acceptance of its limitations. Our true self, which is beyond the mind, is one that actually knows by virtue of being all that is, at which point nothing needs to be said, thought, or proven, for it just is. Existence or beingness, complete presence in the moment, is the nature of our true self. Meanwhile, the mind only describes life on the superficial level, never capable of grasping its full divine essence. We all know we exist, but it's not something we can necessarily explain or quantify, nor is it required. Ironically, our fullness of potential is where we are the most humble, present, and don't have anything to prove. What I know is that I know nothing, Socrates. Our ego character and the play of life. The ego mind is the source of all of our negativity and suffering, yet we have innocently listened to it ramble on while it attempts to solve its self-created problems. The mind's agenda is to continue perpetuating its limited narratives so that it can remain the center of its universe. Its constant thinking helps it feel in control. In a sense, humanity's interactions are just a giant projection of our collective psyche. The great psychiatrist Carl Jung referred to it as the collective unconscious, in which we all play out our roles. I am learning to love every version of myself. That's your affirmation. Referred to it as the collective unconscious, in which we all play out roles and archetypes of characters in conjunction with the whole. The collective unconscious contains the whole spiritual heritage of mankind's evolution, born anew in the brain structure of every individual. Carl Jung. The mind subconsciously puts itself in dangerous or pressured situations so it can be the failure or hero. It wallows in suffering to be a martyr or pious, I don't know how to say that. It sees life as hard and full of challenges in order to be a champion or a victim, and so on. Oh, and remember those ego cards that I was reading? It talks about those archetypes, like the victim, the martyr, the genius. Interesting. I'm going to start another part. All roles ultimately are imaginary, and attachment to them has to be shed eventually if we are to know true peace. Being in the world but not attached to it. When we are living in our ego, it is like an actor getting consumed in their role so deeply that they forget who they really are, unable to return to their original state of consciousness. We might become frustrated or bitter as to why life doesn't feel authentic, like something is missing or off. Thus we search our entire lives trying to fill a void that is coming from thinking something needs to change out there, never thinking that what needs to change is actually in here. True freedom and lasting happiness are found in the balance between effort and non-attachment to your roles. By giving your very best in all that you do, and simultaneously letting go of the outcome or merit, you will be truly fulfilled and full of joy. Whatever you are called to do, know that you were born to play your perfect part in this grand symphony, and it can only be you to do it. No one else can be you, and that is why this is your hero's journey. For it can only be you. You are the one. You are absolutely vital, wanted, and needed. Each one of us has a specific, meaningful part to play in this great theater of the divine. And yet, with that being said, do not take your role in life so seriously that you make living a burden. There are enlightened who join in this play knowing it as play. For people suffer only because they take as serious what the gods made for fun. Alan Watts. If we know the mind likes to play these characters, Then we are in the world, but not of it, not attached to the role as me, but rather something we're just playing at, something we're witnessing arise and come forth as an expression of life. Life is not serious, but rather play. Only the ego takes things seriously due to the attachment of mindness. We can let go of the ego. We can let the ego make life all about me and mine and therefore suffer. Or we can surrender to the mystery with humility and find gratitude in all things. Knowing always, this too shall pass, the good and the bad. Renounce and enjoy, Gandhi. So that was the chapter. We did it. We read the whole thing. And the next chapter, chapter 5 of part 2, Anatomy of Thought and the Beneficial Use of the Mind. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of what reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Albert Einstein. Oh, I can totally read that chapter next time too. Yes. Anyway, I apologize for all those little interruptions, although I know for you, you didn't experience them the same way I did because I'm just hitting record and stitching it all together. But for me, there was so many interruptions in that reading, it was crazy. But anyway, I'm going to go now, my friends, but I will be back soon with a Soul Tribe reading. And as always, I am sending you lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for reading this book with me. Seriously, I couldn't read it without you, so thank you for reading it with me. Thanks for being my reading buddy. Remember in school when you had reading buddies? That's what this feels like. Anyway, I love it. And as always, sending you lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.